The Match Ball.
Hello there. Welcome to the show. This show is brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors, brilliant law firm from Leeds who don't just do Leeds, they do Yorkshire, England, various parts of the world.
Other bits of England. Plymouth. Yeah. They probably do. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Yeah, if you're in Plymouth and you want to use them, then do it. Absolutely. Yeah. Dan, Michael and Moscow here with a 10% discount on your legal fees. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Thank you to Levi's for their continued support. Another win on the board, and we are back up into second place. Thoughts on that one then, gents? It's becoming strange having just routine wins week to week, isn't it?
So
eight on the bounce now.
It's boring.
Are you bored of it?
Oh, I mean, we look like we might make it interesting in the second half. We went and scored.
Dan Baker just said exactly the same sort of thing. Getting a bit boring, all these wins and clean sheets. It's not very Leeds at all.
It wasn't as straightforward as it first appeared, because the first 10 minutes they basically didn't touch the ball. And it was like, oh, this is going to be Swansea again, and we're going to be 3 or 4 up. But they came back into it, and I think they played well and contained some of our dangerous players fairly well. But then 2 of them scored anyway.
We can be patronisingly respectful of Plymouth now, can't we? Because they've been tough in every game. We've not had it all our own way. We couldn't beat them inside 90 minutes in the cup. And, scrappy little side. Done really well against us. Very impressed. But then with,
great bunch of lads. A very well-run club.
Yeah, the Warnockness just kind of really runs through them. But yeah, they have. But if you leave aside the patronising parts of it, they have been a bit annoying.
They seem like a fairly stable mid-table championshipy team, don't they? Like, well, they just seem like fairly well organised, if lacking a little bit of quality.
Which is probably actually to their credit, given that the manager walked out to go to, of all places, Stoke. And there's almost I'd have stayed at Plymouth.
Yeah, I think I would too.
You know what happens at Stoke? Stoke just stays being Stoke, and you don't go anywhere. Whereas Plymouth, it's a bit more interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
got the sea there,
a bit more niche.
Some ships.
Stoke still got they've got a bit of residual Premier League money kicking around probably. And they're owned by Bet365 people, though, aren't they? So they sort of have money, so they can probably pay him like double what he was on at Plymouth.
What do they ever do with it?
Pay him off in 6 months' time. We've decided they want another different manager who might be better.
Basically. We're live on YouTube to our TSB Plus members as well. Thank you for joining us. Lucas Gibson, hello, saying 90 years since we last won 8 league games in a row. That season we came second and won promotion to the top division. Would you accept that again?
Yes.
Yeah? You up for that?
Yeah, I want the title as well.
Yeah.
You want us to overtake Leicester?
Yeah.
Could happen. It's not impossible.
And when we won every single game. If we win every single game between now and the end of the season,
that will see us up, won't it?
There's a chance we will get top spot. But we probably won't, will we?
No.
But but this is fine. It's been a weird game. I felt like actually no one played anything like as well as they can throughout the team. Everyone was about 7 out of 10. Everyone was just about fine. But actually, weirdly, considering he got a goal and an assist, I thought they contained Rutte better than most teams have this season. And Somerville had that one where he cut inside and shot, but again he was limited for the most part. But we just sort of wore him down in the end. And the goals themselves were, the first one was ridiculous. It was just a massive smack up into the air, which aimed at Willie Gnonto, which you would think would be a surefire way of losing the ball. But it was in that much space, he was able to just knock it around the defender.
I did remark in that second half, didn't I, to you both, and just said the goals actually, both of them were surprisingly basic in how they were made up, given how well we've been playing at times. Like that first one, as you say, was just a rugby style up and under. That first touch from Willie absolutely killed the defender, which was fantastic, wasn't it? And just rolled it in. Yeah,
Don Goodman was being a bit of a dick about it, I thought, because it was a really, really good first touch. And he's it's just schoolboy defending. It's like, well, yeah, but that touch is. He'd be like saying, he wouldn't have said that to Colin Hendry, would he? As Gazza flipped the ball over him, say, it's just schoolboy the way he's lunged in there. Most other players in the league wouldn't have been able to take that touch.
I think what you're doing is you're overlooking the fact that Don Goodman's a bit of a fuckwit.
His failure to understand what had happened with the Dan James late free kick as well. I don't know, that's not a penalty. It's because the foul that happened in the box wasn't a penalty because Dan James was detonated from he stood at a very small landmine and ended up flown into the air. But there wasn't a foul there. Otherwise, there was a foul on the edge of the box. But anyway.
It was 25 minutes in that Don Goodman did say, and I quote, Leeds are smothering them, literally. Literally, we were walking round that pitch with pillows in our hands, placing them on the faces of the Plymouth players until
you didn't see what was going on the bench.
Right.
Farke was sat on a man.
Really?
Yeah.
Pillow on his face, smothered him.
Yep.
Wow.
With his big coat, he was smothering someone.
Literally smothering him. Wow. The second goal, Jorginho's lead salute there in the celebration, which has captured my heart in a way that I'm sure you understand. It involved, are we calling that double megs on the way through? We put it through the defender's legs and the keeper's legs.
Yeah.
2-0. We just kicked it up to the good man who's up front at that point, and then he just kicked it into the net.
Not the Don Goodman.
Not the good, no, a better man.
Don Goodman said on that goal, Don Goodman was saying that's the worst possible place for the goalkeeper. It's like, well, he's straight at him, so probably not the worst place.
Sometimes you just get unlucky. And we saw a little bit of swapping of Pirro and Ruta around in that game. Sam Taylor in the comments suggesting it was an absolute masterstroke from Farke. Unbelievable astute.
Everyone was saying it was the stupidest way to play earlier in the season. Everybody hated us doing that, and then
I think when it works though, Moscow, it's good. When it doesn't work, it's bad, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah, there's a few aspects to wonder about as to why we weren't quite on it today. Could it be all the travel? Is it everybody a bit tired? Are we just sick of being in Plymouth all the time in ways that Stephen Schumacher was, that he preferred Stoke, or the lack of a Bamford up front against a team that weren't standing on halfway asleep like Swansea were, meant we were back to that problem that it seems like he was helping us to solve, of how we get through a packed Plymouth-esque defence. So starting with Pirou at 9 and Ruter behind him, we got the goal. I think Ruter's vision shouldn't be underrated for seeing Gnonto all the way over there and going like, right, if I just put a ball over there with this sort of pace and height on it, then he's got a good chance of getting there. Then swap it round when Plymouth are getting back on top. Pirou give us something more in midfield than Rutter was, and his through ball to Rutter for the second was brilliant.
Yeah, precision through ball.
He's a bit of an enigma, Pirou, because he doesn't get involved in the game as much, and he's not always on the ball, and you think, well, he's not really a 10, he's not really creative. But then, if you squint, that was Pablo, like just knocking the ball between his feet and then waiting for the right moment to slide it into Rutter's possession, and then he took it around the last defender and scored. And you're like, oh, well, if you could do that all the time, then it'd be great, and Rutter could just play up front.
It was Pirou to Rutter in the first half as well when Rutter hit the post. It was deflected, but that was another. Pirou again did well. He got a little bit of luck, I think, but then he picked the ball up again quickly and played it. And on the goal, actually, saying Somerville had a bit of a quiet day by his standards. He distracts the defender enough as well that Rutter can cut inside, because he's going down the outside of the defender, so he's kind of caught in two minds as to whether or not he needs to close the ball or Somerville, and then the space is just about there for him.
Somerville was on good leg opening duty, I think that's why there was the path between ankles was open for the double megs, was because they had to keep their legs open in case Somerville did something.
Just some concerned people in the comments on the YouTube stream. House of Stouts is asking, what are you drinking? Is it Bovril Red Zone?
It's Vimto.
The squash version of Vimto.
The squash version, yeah, and not the standard one. The what is it?
You might have to. We do have a number of Americans
raspberry, orange, and passion fruit.
So we have to first of all explain what squash is to Americans, and also what Vimto is. Probably
it's really concentrated, and you add water to it.
Yep.
There you go.
It tastes of
fruity
chemicals.
It's meant to taste of
orange and passion fruit and raspberry.
It's not artisan pink lemonade, as Donna was asking.
No. It's actually the stuff that my kids have rejected. They didn't like it, right. So it's ended up in here.
I've also come in to find in front of you on the desk is an apple core in a glass with a spoon. I don't know if it's some kind of aborted attempt to make homemade cider going on, but
that's how I always eat them. You put your apple in your glass, then you attack it with a teaspoon. It's obvious.
Yes. It's the easiest way to chop an apple, isn't it? That with a teaspoon. Yeah, I always find just scoop it out. Dan Sogden, back to those comments, saying that's how you get promoted right there. Weather the storm, take the shit, brush it off, and score a winner. Beautiful. Hi, boys.
Especially after the last couple of weeks, because this period of how we're going to cope, flying back and forth to John O'Groats all the time, and then turns out we'll just win every game. That makes I'm sure that makes the trips. I bet that'd be a party plane.
Yeah,
on the way back,
like a flight back from Vegas.
Yeah,
or to Vegas.
Because
you come back from Vegas very tired, I suspect.
It might have been part of Farke's promise to them all. It's like if you win all these games, then that last flight back, Wenger plane.
The Wenger plane is coming.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Slice of cake, man.
Yeah. Richard, is saying that there was unbelievable stress at times in that game. I didn't feel particularly stressed. I don't know because we're in that winning pattern, that winning habit, that winning groove now.
The stress was definitely building, but then we scored again.
Yeah.
And after that, it was fine. Because it didn't feel like they probably had 2 goals in them. Whereas I felt they could get one from a corner or just, there was the one, they didn't really have any chance, did they? There was one that felt the closest, was probably the one where it was flashed across the box and someone didn't quite get their foot to it.
A bloke,
a Plymouth man, didn't quite get his foot to it. But other than that, I mean, Melier made that late save from a free kick, but it was one you'd expect him to make, wasn't it?
We were 2-0 up by then. I think the stress sort of came from the fear that we might sleepwalk our way out of a win, having not got the 7 goals in the first 10 minutes that we could have with the dominance. So that was the risk, is like if we slip back into old habits and there's no Bamford in there and tiredness sneaks up. I wonder if that's been part of the plan with Farke as well. He's wanted more efficiency, and he's stopped saying brutality, but I don't know if he's happy about the brutality in the box at the moment, so he doesn't need to worry about how brutal we are. But it's a factor with all the travel and the tiredness, is like we'll get the games won in the first half, and that is one way that we can conserve our energy, and it's one thing that compared to the last couple of games that we didn't manage today. And that's the other side, is it's not just been because the travelling to Plymouth, I always, we need to be careful about mentioning it too much because they have to do it all the time. But then that's their choice. They don't have to hold their football club there. They could move it to somewhere more convenient.
Put another one in Milton Keynes. So they like that. That's nice and central.
They deal with it. But, so they do it all the time. But the added thing is, it's kind of what I was saying before, is that Plymouth haven't made those games easy for us at all. And that has been unwelcome, but we've dealt with it. So not only were they a long way away, but they're quite difficult to play against.
Yeah, I think as well the thing in the second half was it was a bit reminiscent of the game at Ellen Road as well, where we were the better team, but we didn't get.
A number of people have said that.
Yeah, we didn't get enough ahead, and then they scored. And by the time they score, you almost think, well, it's maybe fair enough now.
You've got to say it is to their credit, and we can afford to say that now and be slightly patronising about it, can't we?
Yes, I like teams that allow us to win.
Yeah.
They've not allowed us to win, though. That's the thing. Swansea allowed us to win. It felt like, if you're looking at games in the past week when you've turned up and you've got an early lead, and
they certainly played to our
Swansea just gone,
yeah.
Fine.
What's the point?
We'll just worry about the next game. Whereas it felt like Plymouth were very much interested in this as a contest right to the end.
The Janners gaffer, Ian Foster, has said we've limited an unbelievable team in this division to 2 shots on target.
I thought we were too passive, Moscow. Too passive.
Too passive in the first 20 minutes.
What's the Janners?
It's what people from Plymouth like to be called.
Why? I feel like you'd have I feel like I'm remembering when you explained why Charlton were called the Addicts. It was about
not to do with
Addick and Chips.
Not to do with Addick and Chips. It's cousin of Jan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're all Jan's cousins.
I was just going to go back to the first goal that Willie scored. Now, if you rewind to when Allardyce was here and he wouldn't play Georgie Rutter because he thought he was just, I don't know, lacking confidence, not a footballer, whatever it might be, that first goal, that up and under from Georgie, booting it high into the air, Allardyce would have been rubbing his sweaty thighs back at home going, finally, he's doing what I want him to.
Yeah, it needed a big man underneath it, though. You don't want to be doing big balls forward to Willie Nonto, do you?
Yeah, it's not well, actually, if he was still here, I don't know why we're going down this particular thought experiment, but it would be Allardyce's big project would be turning Nonto into a new Kevin Davies.
Right.
Because he was, I always had in my mind Kevin Davies was short, but he actually turned out to be about 6'1". But he's got that build, hasn't he? And he would just be, I don't think he was ever particularly good in the air until, that wasn't his game until Allardyce got hold of him and turned him in. And then he would be trying to encourage Meslier into a bowl cut. He said that's how Jussi Jääskeläinen used to get all his powers.
It's a bit like, actually, thinking of...
I've got some Janners chat. I'll park that for a second. I'll just close that thought off. Dan's just saying, as someone from Plymouth, no one really knows why we're called Janners, just weird West Country shit. But then TJ has popped up. Flames in the chat here. Flames in the chat. A Janner is a farmer. Source, I grew up there.
Well, this... I've been Googling this too. It says the definition of Janner is described as a person from Devon deriving from cousin Jan, the Devon form of John.
Yeah.
What?
Is it because they're all cousins? Is it?
That's something that
it's a weird flex, as you might say.
TJ and Dan can discuss they might turn out that they're brothers.
Maybe so.
Let us know.
All of us, or both.
Yeah, this is bullshit, isn't it?
Just saying about Kevin Davis.
Sorry, go on.
It made me think of the weird trajectory that he scored a really good goal for Chesterfield, where he looked like a tricky winger, and then he was reinvented as a big burly centre forward. It reminded me a bit of Archie's dad.
Yes.
The grey trajectory where he left Leeds a tricky young winger, came back a big burly centre forward.
Got fully Warnocked, didn't
he? Foster was being very reasonable about Leeds and sort of saying he's glad to see the back.
Is he going to Gloucester?
No, that's his dad, the doctor, I believe. But he's saying Georgie's pass for Willie's goal was an aimless high kick. I thought it was a precision through ball. What about you?
I mean, it was in the right direction.
He looked up. He looked in that direction.
I mean, it's a weird trajectory to put on a pass.
But sometimes you've got to arc it, haven't you, in order to to clear the defenders?
Is that what
why have you got a grin on your face?
It was a hell of an arc. Is all I'm saying. It went really, really high.
Is it as good as his story arc?
It was higher, I would say.
Right. Yeah, he's saying that we're ruthless, apparently. Comments are suggesting. Glad to see that.
It must be annoying to have played us this much and not really got anything from it.
If he's, well, he'd have some sympathy. If he's really said that was aimless, he can get fucked. Aimless.
I think it's fair.
Rutter's quite clearly seen Gnonto standing on the side of the pitch in loads of space. The aim was to give it to our really good winger in all the space that his shit-up team had just wandered off and left him alone in. Oh, that guy scored 4 goals in 4 games. Why don't we just leave him in loads of space and we'll just give the ball to their really good player or he'll never... And... What a prick. My flabber is fully gasted if he really thinks it was aimless. Apparently he said that on Sky. It wasn't aimless. It was aimed towards Wilf Gnonto.
Yeah,
that was the aim.
He did kick it in that direction. He kicked it in the right direction for where our player was.
It's not like Rutter's looked over there and gone, oh, well, there's no Leeds players there. Boom.
I think he's a bald fraud.
I feel like we should maybe cut him some slack because it's taken 3 games in quick succession to us to remember his name. So I think for a while we kept going, the Plymouth.
No, I will never forget it.
Not Schumacher, the other guy.
I mean, the comments now reflecting it. Gary's saying crazy legs defo looked before the punt.
Yeah.
Lee following up by saying his ball had to be played like that. The apex of the ball as he played it gave him no option but to play it like that. Correct.
Rutter is, if there's anyone who's going to think I could put this ball 100 metres into the air and still make a good pass, it probably is Rutter, because we've discussed before what a ridiculously unconventional man he is in everything he does. So he probably meant that, and he probably meant to double Megs the goal as well.
Yeah, and Gnonto's touch as well. There seemed to be some argument at half-time on Sky about whether he meant to Burkamp it around the defender
with
his first touch. Well, I'm not sure he did.
Well, he did it, didn't he? I mean,
but what he meant to do was bring the ball under control so that he could try to score, and he did that. And it worked. So it's kind of the intention is not always 100% one-to-one match with the result. 80% intention can take you all the way to the finish. So Rutter is not thinking that far ahead. If I play this over there, it will land exactly on Gnonto's feet, and then he'll do this and this. It's like, he's got loads of space. If I put the ball into loads of space, how do I get the ball into loads of space? Like this.
And the other side to this is anybody who's even played bloody 5-a-side or football at any level whatsoever, you know that you kind of, you do stuff instinctively, don't you? You don't think things through from start to finish to conclusion. So if your instincts are good, they will normally pay off. And that's exactly what happened there.
I would go and give Ian Foster a piece of my mind, but it's a fucking long way, isn't it?
Yeah. You should get him to drive back up. Give him a piece of your mind and send him on his way again. That's all he deserves. What else have we got then? from the notes. Yeah, Plymouth fans being annoyed at the ref. I noted down early in the second half. That was a growing trend throughout the game, and they were singing, "You're not fit to referee." I would say this because we won, and it seemed like he pulled them up for a lot of the fouls that they were doing on us. But I thought the ref had a pretty good game. He's been one of the better ones in recent weeks.
Yeah, I thought for the most part the fouls were fouls.
Yeah, when he refed us against Norwich, I think he got 3 out of 10 on the TSB Plus ratings, which is pretty good, actually. So he's one of the division's better specimens. Yeah, I think they were just desperate for anything so that they could try and... it's a hostile home park crowd trying to turn the referee their way.
And if anything, he was a little bit lenient early on. There were a couple of potential yellows that they could have got. The Chako and Furpo after about 3 minutes was definitely a yellow. The ball had crossed it. The ball was in the box by the time the tackle actually got there. So he was a bit lenient there.
I quite enjoyed Joe Roden pushing that guy on the ground as well. That's pretty good. He's looking for that.
Leslie's pointing out that Ampadu was fouled by the ref, so he should have given himself a yellow.
I thought that's what happened when he was hopping around at the corner. The referee had trodden on him, but I'd not quite seen it happen, but I couldn't see who else had done it. That's brilliant. All right, so I'd actually give the ref another, mark him up for trampling on. Well, why do I like that I need to unpick this part of my self. Why do I like the fact that the referee has trodden on Ethan Ampadu? That's a weird thing to like. Anyway, it happened.
It's disruptive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just funny.
That was the corner where Willie Nonto was employed as Mellier's minder, wasn't he? There were two big brutes trying to press him, and he was in the middle of there, just shoving at their pelvises from his meagre height.
Let's talk about Mellier actually, because I thought he had a good game today and punched at the right moments, caught at the right moment. There was that sequence in the second half where I think he punched the first corner clear, and then the second one he just got up there, and I thought I kind of took half a second of breath and thought he'd stepped too far one way, but then he just reached his long arms up and caught the thing right when we needed it.
Yeah, there was one bit where I shit my pants where he was playing it out, and I think it was Rodon and moved to the left, and he went to play it with his left to Rodon. Defender cut it off, attacker, and then he went the other way and played it with his right foot, but it was pretty close to their player again, and he's like, for fuck's sake.
I'm glad the lads have got the confidence to do this because it's a sign of a team that's not playing with any fear.
Yeah, fear's all mine, I suppose. A goalkeeper threading the needle with his wrong foot when you've had to watch John Lukic in the past. It is a stressful business, but it was fine when it today. There was the one bit where he came for the ball and the striker got there first, and I said a Premier League striker would manage to engineer that into a penalty because he'd just jump over the keeper as he comes out, but
just drag a leg into his head or something.
That honest Jana,
yep,
just played on, tried to actually score a goal, but never mind.
Do you think the subs? Because I was thinking just as we headed into the spell, because they did that period in the second half, hadn't they, where they come out in the first part of the second half and just caused us a few problems without causing us any really clear-cut problems. Like you said, there was just that little head of steam building. And then I was it got to about 60, 65, and I thought, he's not going to do, but it really feels like he could do. He's changing something now. And then lo and behold, you go and score. Was it 72 minutes? I think we scored the second to make it 2-0. So what do I know?
I thought Dan James, I'd missed his defensive zoomies, as someone once phrased it on the match ball feedback. 82 minutes, there was one of those where he just appears from nowhere and tidies up at fullback. He's good at that.
He did change things because he swapped Piru and Rutter around. So there were, changed things without a sub is a pretty good way of doing it because then you still got 5 subs left. And yeah, so it was more a case of just waiting until we got the game won, which probably makes sense because the first 11's our best first 11. So I didn't really mind that he didn't change it.
Oh, that's reminded me of that.
In terms of substitutions.
What you just said there reminded me of the bookmark that I've got. I think of that. It was a Plymouth fan off the back of the cup game.
No, because to be
fair...
One
thing is for certain, our full 11 beat Leeds at home in the league. But I feel like quote tweeting it with a narrator's voice there.
However...
They were missing the crucial midfielders, weren't they, is what you can say.
Forshaw and JB couldn't play, could they? So Forshaw's a hamstring injury, which is unfortunate.
Hard to believe, isn't it, that he's injured?
Oh, be nice. Come on, he's a legend of promotion.
No, he is, but he was also injured for the majority of the time he was at Leeds.
Yeah, with horrific.
I know, but I'm saying you can't
constantly under the knife.
If you buy Adam Forshaw, you can't be surprised that he's not available.
I'll injure you for 3 years and see how you like it, and then JB's ineligible.
Yeah,
I'll make you ineligible in a minute.
Okay. how we can do. I'm interested to see how it turns out.
There's people just responding to that tweet from earlier on, just going, hi, and putting love hearts. Afternoon, mate. Stuff like that underneath his tweet. I'm not going to cause a pile on it. It'd be mean to do that. But rest assured, I've bookmarked it, and that's all that counts. Point scoring on the internet, very, very important.
Yeah, they'll see that bookmark and they'll be they'll feel annoyed, won't they?
Grrr. What else do we need to talk about then? I was mentioning the subs. What other subs did we make? So DJ, I thought, was the one that I really wanted to see happen, and it did happen after we were 2-0 up.
Roberts came on and chucked it really far down the line.
Yeah, you noticed that, didn't you? Good at throwing.
Some rigorous analysis of the substitutes as the highlight of the game. But Matteo Joseph didn't give away a free kick, so
yeah.
It's good. We're dealing with all the important aspects.
Missed a good opportunity as well, did Joseph, in injury time. The ball was dropping on their defender's head, and I thought he could just
He could have really taken.
He could have just break his ribs here, but he decided not to.
Keep the record going.
Yeah, it was a shame.
And then, in injury time, Dan James with the foul, which wasn't, as we were saying, it wasn't a penalty, was it?
No.
But he hit the bar. And I have to apologise to Dan James because I said, which row of the stand is this going to end up in?
If anyone in the comments can say when we last scored a free kick, I'd be interested to know, because I don't think it was last season, and it's not this season. So
you said it was, what was it again?
I was joking about it was Pablo Burton.
Yeah,
John Sheridan.
That's the last one I remember. John Sheridan, 1987.
I think it was that one.
There
It was a good one.
has been one since then, but it does feel like quite a long time ago.
Anything else to add then? Man of the match, maybe? Like they say, hard to pick one today. Everybody was fine, but steady but not spectacular. But
yeah, there were a few.
Who'd you go for?
You'd probably picking on people who were a little undercooked, because there was a few players that were not quite as good as we have been. We looked tired, I think, like not horrendously so, but just that little bit of like lack of sparkle made it more of a. I'm actually quite pleased in a way, because this game being played at a little bit like, I don't know, taking pleasure in Ampadu getting trod on by a referee, but this game, I guess it's not good for the people who travelled all the way down there. But when Sky move a game and then have to spend most of the game going like, oh, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, this is a game for the ages, and it's like Leeds just beating Plymouth 2-0. Fairly standard championship fare. I suppose if you did go, you get to have you've got a free afternoon the rest of the day.
But Weaver loves his hyperbole, the commentator, doesn't he?
Yeah, but having to hype up, it's like when they put on Huddersfield nil, Sheffield Wednesday nil on a Friday night. Like, nowhere else you'd rather be.
Even though, yes, there are a lot of empty seats in the ground.
Yeah.
Many people have chosen not to be here, but it's good that we're putting it on.
Both clubs are actively protesting their owners. Everyone's unhappy.
Should be a protest. The more egregious the movement of the fixture, the worse the performance that the two teams should put in just out of spite. But player of the match,
it's been given to Nonto statistically by FOTMob.
Sky gave it to Ruter, didn't they?
Right.
Goal with an assist, I guess. Yeah. But I feel like I said, I don't think anyone played anything like as well as they can or have done.
Yeah, I mean, stats-wise, they've all basically fallen between about 7 and 8, with Pirot hitting 8, Ruter 8.2, Nonto 8.3. The only one to fall below 7 was Somerville, but that's only from a statistical point of view. For whatever reason, the algorithm, I don't think, likes him, because he tends to pick it up and run with it quite a lot, which will inevitably mean the algorithm's laying means he'll often lose the ball.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which I suspect marks him down from a numbers point
Rodon
of view.
wasn't quite as good as he's been. He had a couple of slightly iffy moments where he gave it away or went for stuff and missed it a bit.
But it's always with the context of absolutely no arguments. It's like, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah. And it never particularly led to a chance, I don't think, either. So you get away with it. Firpo as well today had a few defensively quite iffy moments, I thought. Where
there was a moment where we laughed, wasn't there?
He completely fell asleep and let someone run behind him off a free kick, and there was one or two bits, but he kind of gets away with it.
He got back, though. There was one where he got caught upfield, and it made me think of Jed Spence at Blackburn when he got the post-match lecture, because Firpo did exactly what Jed Spence didn't do when he came on at left-back in that game, which was completely disappear upfield. I think he was trying to press them at a throw-in or something. But then by the time, I think it was Ampadu was sorting things out by the corner flag, Firpo was long since back with him going, oh, no, it's all right, I'm here now. So he did turn up. Falkers made a good point that no team was able to travel away from here with 3 points since October.
Facts. Right. You're spitting facts again,
You can get your home and away table out next week anyway.
Shall I do it now? because I've got it ready.
No, it's fine.
Come on, let me do
It's
it now.
fine. You can sing the theme tunes home and away if you want, but that's it.
Well, the 3 o'clock kickoffs have, as we are speaking at this very moment, just kicked off.
You know we belong together.
So I'm going to say to you right now that we are now third in the away table, which ain't bad, is it?
Good.
So 29 points, 32 for Southampton, 38 for Leicester above us.
We were saying, I think we're pretty much 70 points normally pretty much guarantees your playoffs, doesn't it? We're there now, more or less. So
we are.
That's good.
Yeah.
Should we stop winning? We've got what we want, haven't we? If we're in the playoffs,
good enough.
Well, we are 21 points clear or thereabouts as these games kick off of 7th place. So it feels like the playoffs are almost definitely.
I feel secure in the playoffs.
Happening. Are you looking forward to that?
I'd rather avoid it.
Should we just keep winning?
Or keep losing. One way or another, we need to not be in them.
it would have helped if last night's Corberan hadn't thrown it in against Southampton, having caught it while it was still on the pitch. Actually kicked it with his foot, didn't he? But it was all the places we didn't want him to be. And Southampton got all, I think their manager got all like this, we're going to make a fight of this. He made some reference to, there was definitely a reference to Leeds because he was talking about, we know that the other teams are watching us. We know that people are watching us in their hotels right now, stuff like this. And he needs to maybe calm down a little bit because they're third. And if I was third, I'd shut up.
That's fair enough.
Shots fired. Right, we'll wrap it up there then, and we'll keep it on the 3 o'clocks, and we will be back with Phil on Monday to pick apart what happened in that game, get the view from the press box, see if he managed to survive his dreadful trip down. Awful, wasn't it, so far?
Raining again. Does seem to rain a lot in Plymouth.
That's House of Stouts has actually said, can you show us the rain matches table?
It was pretty relentless. Not quite as bad as the cup game, but it couldn't quite flatten Grove's hair.
Those seafaring folks, isn't it? Living by the ocean. Mists.
That was blowing
squalls.
In from sea fret.
They just want any opportunity to wear an oily coat.
A sou'wester as well. Yeah, lovely.
It's nice to not have Jonathan Pearce on this one anyway.
There's that. Yeah,
that was a treat.
There is that. Right, we will wrap it up there. Thank you for joining us on the stream. And if you're listening afterwards, you can get priority access to the match ball as well. It's our endless. We're going to win every game until the end of the season now, isn't it? He says as we
looks that way.
Prepare to face Leicester in our next game.
9 out of 9.
Priority access for the match ball with our TSB Plus membership, which we appreciate. So if you are supporting us, cheers, and we'll see you in a bit.
The match ball.